All right. So, welcome. We actually don't have a name for anything that we're doing. Goody and I just thought that we should share our reviews with the world as we would have some really great debates on different shows, different movies, and our different points of view. And I think the Aquarius and both of us just want to get this out to the world so that one of us is going to end up being more right than the other, depending on how many people agree.
Um,
The other one's going to be an Aquarius and be like, well, I don't need people to agree with me. But we're going to get
I don't care. I said what I said, and I'm gonna say what I'm finna say.
so we wanted to start off with a great show. At least we feel it's a great show. It's our era's living single, kind of, right? Would you say?
It's our errors living single. It's our communities. Sex in the City.
Yes, yes. So like a mashup of them, right?
It's a hard. Well, it's a New York that I can relate to, right? Like I
Absolutely.
love Harlem,
Absolutely. Same thing here.
so it's a
So
New York I can relate to.
and the funny thing is that I learned that like my lifelong obsession with Harlem probably stemmed from younger because when my grandmother came up from South Carolina, first place she went to was Harlem. Unfortunately, she didn't really like it because she was country girl, you know. But I always thought that was funny. I was like, so I was supposed to be here. Like I just have like an affinity. Is Harlem's just a
I
thing?
just like the men.
I
A
used to
Harlem dude is a certain kind of dude. Like
very much.
Brooklyn has good looking men. I'm on record saying that, but no, nobody tell me anything about it. Brooklyn has good looking men, but Harlem, at least the men from my generation, like I'm 48, y'all.
And I'm 39. So like we're close in the generation, but also got different
Not so close.
versions of the men. And but I still agree.
Like
Something about a
they
Harlem
treat you
man.
different. Like, I was
They
engaged to
just
a
they walk
Harlem dude.
different, they
Right.
talk different, their style's definitely
It's a whole
different.
different vibe. I was engaged to a Harlem dude. Like every spring, he got his spring sneakers, and I got the wifey component to whatever that was. That's just the mentality, like Harlem. So
They're
that's
fresh.
why I love Harlem. It's the
Listen,
men.
I
It's
actually
the men for
won't go
me.
into deeper detail too, but the Harlem men are they're in their own breed. So shout out to all you Harlem men out there that are
What's
listening
up,
to this.
brothers from
All
Harlem?
right, that's we're not saying the other men don't have their own thing
I
around the
don't care what
country,
the other
around the
men feel. This
boroughs,
is
but
about Harlem.
it's just something about a Harlem man. So that segues into what we're speaking of, the show Harlem. And starring Megan Good and Grace Byers, and you got to help me with the other two. They're not newbies, but they're super dope. It's just excuse me, I've had a rough day. I should have had my notes with their names up here, but I can call them from from their show
Jerry
name.
Johnson
So yeah, Jerry Johnson, and I
and
follow all of
Shaniqua
them too.
Shandai,
Yeah, and I follow all of them on Instagram. So
Tyler
sorry,
Little,
sorry there. Yeah, and Tyler.
Rachel True.
So Tyler Lefley, do you know, is he's from Philly, and his mom is Italian and his dad's Jamaican. And so I did not know that. And you know me with the Caribbean. So like just saying. But
Yeah.
like nice job, Miracle Watts. Like, right? That's his whim. Nice job. Like
Mm-mm.
something about those eyes. Like he actually too he played Division 2 football in the PSAC. So I played Division 2 basketball, so I know very well. I think he went to Kutztown University, played football there. Very well spoken. I actually caught one of his lives, and he's not just a pretty face. So
Girl, let's get into this Harlem thing.
all right, so let's talk about it. I mean, he's not from Harlem. The show he plays someone from Harlem. Maybe that makes him look better because, like, he also looks like he plays someone from Harlem. I
I
mean,
mean,
he
he's
is
attractive too.
he's a very attractive man, but then like you playing someone from Harlem, like just walk around Harlem one day, ladies, and thank us later. I think Harlem just has beautiful people too, beautiful men, women, like the blackness of it all. Like it's just anyway. So yeah, so we are not starting with season 1 because if you missed that, that's on you. Sorry. But we are going to start with season 2. So as you know, we ended season 1 with the kiss between Camille, which is Megan Good's character, and Ian, which is Tyler Lepley's character, that was seen by his fiance at the time, Mia, right? Her name's Mia.
I believe it was Mia. Yeah.
So we're trying to do this as organic as possible, y'all. So we might jump around, we might miss some things, blame it on our head and not on our heart, right? Like we really didn't want to have like a really structured conversation. We want to talk to you the way we talk to each other after the episode's in, right?
So wait, let's just give them a little bit of history. Camille, she's a professor, Columbia.
Yes.
Adjunct. She was supposed to move to Paris with her man.
Ian.
She opted out because she felt like she would have been giving up too much of herself. And then he happens to be back in town. She thinks he's visiting. He's actually there to stay. Then last season was like an emotional roller coaster between them that ended with them kissing on the night before his wedding.
For the second time, because they did kiss when they first saw each other and ran into each other at a party in season 1. So so those feelings actually never went away, and that's what happens when we don't deal with things and we just run away from things, right? They end up making things a bigger mess later on. So it's funny too, before we jump back into the synopsis, when the season was getting ready to premiere, Goody and I were talking, and I was like, man, they just do shit that just makes me so angry. Like all of them do something that just like I can't relate to them. She's like, maybe because you relate to all of them. So watching this season, I did see bits and pieces of myself in all of them, and I think that's the greatness of entertainment that really resonates, is because you sometimes are forced to confront some of the darker sides of yourself that you don't want to. So generally, we don't realize that when we don't like someone in person, a lot of times those people embody
traits
that we don't like in ourselves. Maybe we did the shadow work, maybe we haven't, right? But most likely, 90% of the people you encounter that you do not like is because they embody a character trait or a flaw or something in yourself or someone around you, close to you, your mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, grandparents, whatever, that you don't like. And then here it is bubbling up because you most likely didn't attend
Generally, when I have a harsh reaction to a person, place, or thing, I ask myself why, because for the most part, I walk around indifferent to things. So if there's a reaction out of me, like I hate this, it's like, why? And usually my why can relate back to work that I have done or need to do. So that's where we are with that. So Camille,
or refuse to admit that you need to do.
Well,
that's really fun.
I'm at a stage now where I just go in and do the work, right? Like,
yeah, we're there. But when we were younger,
for sure. When I was younger, I was perfect.
Like a lot of people, I say my spirit just doesn't take to them, but I like to reflect as to why, because generally I can deal with anybody and everybody, even if they despise me, right? Like if I have to. But if they really are irking me or rubbing me wrong, I need to understand why, because that's usually something within myself that maybe I'm overlooking, or maybe something that I overcame. But as I get older, when it's things that I've worked on, I see that I'm able to find a little bit more grace for people. So like I'm in my graceful era where I'm trying to give grace, especially shout out to Black women.
Welcome to grace.
So I do my best. I think I always have been. That's why like I've been like, burnt or whatever by people in the past doing me wrong. But like now it's very much so a conscious effort, and not just a natural thing. Like instead of blowing up immediately, I try to say, okay, what's wrong with this person? And then I just like walk away. 90% of the time.
Real kiss.
Yes.
Maya. I think Maya or Mia.
Mia? Wasn't it Mia? It was Mia, right?
Okay, Mia. Whoever. She sees them.
The British chick.
Right. She sees them. And initially, she's going to pretend that she didn't see them. But then she's like, whoa, am I finna do this again? Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I saw you kissing again. And he tries to lie, and she's like, "Come on, don't play me. I know what I saw." And then she's like, "The interesting thing to me is that you throwing me away when I came across I came across the world to be with you. She wouldn't even go with you to a place you planned, and you told me she was flaky." And, like, so like Camille hears that and she's like, right,
Oh my God, she's telling the truth of me.
right. So Mia leaves. Um, Ian tries to talk to Camille. She's like, "This is not the right time for us to talk. Not here, not now, not ever." She goes outside where Quinn is waiting, and Quinn is happy as hell because Mia is like, she's a influencer, a fashionista. She moves things in the world. She's gonna get Quinn in Vanity Fair,
Vogue.
Vogue. Okay, yeah, Vogue, and
I believe,
you
right?
know
Vogue.
and Quinn is also happy because she asked a woman on a date, Isabella, and Isabella said
Wait,
yes.
wait, wait, wait. Are we jumping around too much?
No. As soon as Camille
That
leaves,
is the end of this season. You're right. Yeah.
right? As soon as Camille leaves, she goes to Quinn, and Quinn is happy. Quinn's like, "My first day queer is the best day in the world," and Camille breaks down into tears.
Yeah.
So Quinn immediately is like, "Okay, okay, let's handle this. We got this. We got this."
Yep.
Um,
So
I can't relate to I can't relate to throwing it all away. I can't relate to throwing it all away the night before a wedding from that perspective for anyone else, but I can relate to deciding I'm not getting married after the wedding's been planned. So I can relate to Ian more than I can relate to Camille in this instance.
yeah, I can't relate to either because I've I've not moved on with other people and have been stuck in feelings for a past relationship. Maybe like some unresolved feelings with me dealing with things that went on in a past relationship, but not wanting to be with someone else where I would jeopardize a current relationship. So I can't identify with Ian there, and then I can't identify with Camille because actually I kind of can, but I didn't want him, so I don't think I'm gonna go into detail there because he may see this and like get mad at me.
Oh
But
yeah, like when people might see it, I just don't even share it publicly. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, this ain't finna be no."
everything is forever on the internet. But yeah, so I've even if I wanted someone after we ended, I never wanted them enough to take them from who they were with. Um,
Right.
it definitely could have, right? But that's terrible, right? So I mean,
I like that isn't even a brag for me. I don't want
it's
because
not saying that it's a
no,
brag.
no, I'm
It's
not
saying
saying
that
that
I
you would
could
say
have
it's a
done
brag,
it,
but a
but
lot of
didn't.
women see that as a brag. Like I could have him if I want him. Anyone could have him if they wanted him.
I don't agree with that. I don't
No,
see. I don't
someone
see
told me the other day that men would stick their penis in a bagel for pleasure. So
possibly, but that's different. So, like wanting you sexually and then wanting to leave who they're with to be with you is different too, right? I believe that not all, but very many men, I believe, are more desperate than women to be in relationships. Actually, right? To be honest, and I feel that when they feel like Ian felt Camille didn't want him. Ian could have worked with Camille to still had like a long distance thing till she felt comfortable to come there, and maybe she was gonna teach at a big university in Paris. Like they could have worked it out, right? So like I think that what happens is because men are less apt to do shadow work, the work behind the scenes, not anything dark or anything like that. Just working on the dark parts of themselves, which is why we call it shadow work, right? I think because they're less or more reticent to do that and less apt to do that, that they end up in these situations like Ian with Camille's often because they don't fully end things. They don't fully communicate. They don't fully deal with things as they are. They don't even really sit in singleness. How many times do you see a man go from a relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, or even relationship, friend with benefit, which is the same thing as a situationship almost, but technically a little different, right? It's very rare actually nowadays to see any man from the age of like 20 to our big age over 50, right? That has been single, no, not dating anyone, not having sex with anyone, not doing anything at all, and just working on themselves. Like, not even trying to go out on dates, but just like, wow, my last 3 relationships were crap, or they were good, but I wasn't ready to be with these women, or the women weren't right for me. Let me try to figure out what's wrong and what I'm doing wrong and try to get it together and then date again. You rarely see men doing that. Wow, I don't really have a job, right? Or wow, I don't have the degrees I want, or any degree or whatever. Let me sit back and work on myself and not date. Very rare do you see men do that, but you see women do that all the time, right? And I think that because of that, there are more situations where if they had a chance to get back someone once they were in a position where they're finally doing great, and that one that they felt got away, most men have a one that they felt got away. And if they are presented with that chance to go back, most of them will. Very few times does that happen with a woman that has done the work.
Okay. In our next scene, we go to Angie, right? So Angie has she has ruined her opportunity of Get Out, the Broadway musical. She wrote a letter to Jordan Peele, giving him some suggestions, I guess thinking that it was approved. It was not approved. The end result is they had to stop the show. And also the end result is her little situationship for cuddle season, for cuffing season. It ended because dude ain't finna deal with her. So she's having a bad night. Camille's having a bad night. Quinn is trying to, not show how bad a night she's having. And Ty, where's Ty in this?
Brandon, remember? Brandon is trying to take half.
Ty's ex-husband has shown up. He's trying to take half of everything she owned. And he definitely trying to stay up in her house and lay down and kind of just make himself at home. So,
but I don't think it's like that. I feel like he's trying to get her to do the work, right? Like, why does it? I feel that we could have dove deeper into why they have this contentious relationship. I understand on Brandon's side because he popped up like, "Hey, you're doing great, and you still forgot about me." Like, and he was there for her when she needed, because he was there for her because she was in the hospital.
He came to her because he couldn't find her.
No, he came to. They called her because
but he couldn't find her prior.
Yeah,
she's not who she was.
Exactly. Well, I see. So I think, and they don't. This is not a spoiler because they don't cover this at all. I really feel Brandon and her were each other's beards, right? For those of you who don't know the LGBTQ plus community, a beard is when you are portraying yourself to the outside world as straight. And so if you're a bisexual or a lesbian woman and you're in an atmosphere where you can't be that way, then you'll have a husband who will cover for you, right? Same thing if you're a man and you're bisexual or a gay or homosexual, however you identify, you can't be you, right? Because in some places, let's be honest, you still can't. You might have a woman, right, who is the beard for you. Generally, a beard knows they're a beard, though, but there are beards that don't. I believe that they were mutual beards because they were in a small town.
Right, they were in a small town.
Gravitated to each other like, girl, you was a lesbian, boy, you was gay, right? And then
they wanted out
together. Yeah.
And like we'll kind of get to that later on in the season, but she wanted out and she got out and he could not find her. Probably because he was using the resources of somebody from a small ass town, because she's blowing up. If you Google her, she's blowing up.
Exactly.
She's on magazine covers if you're paying attention.
But that makes me to think, is Ty short for something else, right? So maybe he's looking up Ty or Tiana or something like that, right? So so that could be too, right? Because let's just not say like small towns like they don't know how to use Google. Like Goody's gonna get a whole bunch of hate mail. I am from Mississippi and I know how to use Google. I found
You know
this
how to
and
use
F
Google,
you,
but you don't
right?
know how to look for somebody who's trying to hide themselves. Like I
And
like,
playing daylight, like she's like she's a
which
multi-millionaire.
is that's the best way to hide,
True.
right? So now they're doing what I love to do. You know, everybody's had an evening. Now they're doing what I love to do, which is going to brunch. Day,
Yes,
they day drinking.
bottomless brunch. Let me tell you something. Let's talk about brunch. First of all, my first brunch was like 2003 in like Harlem too, I want to say. Like, and I was like, girls, like with my girls, which coincidentally was the four of us. This is college, right? And we were like, girl, there's a brunch. We weren't of legal age, so but we was in brunch and it was the first time we had bottomless mimosas, right? So let me tell you something. I hate that they've watered down the experience because I feel like I
Listen,
was doing brunch before brunch got big, right? But I don't think I'll ever turn down a good brunch. So
listen, a nice brunch by 6 p.m. You wasted 7 p.m. You could be home showered.
yes.
10 p.m. You're done.
10. I don't know how you get to 10. That I brunch differently because like, well, I do like to go around like 2 o'clock, 3. I mean traditional brunch, not the swag surfing where party is, the day party brunches. I mean like just me and my girls. Hey, they got a 2-hour bottomless tequila brunch now. Over here. Yeah, I'm out by like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so no, because I've gone to brunches that turned into the swag. It didn't start that way, but it turned into that. I've also brunched with mocha, where you think you go into one brunch.
No, yeah, like
What's up,
4.
Mo? You
Yeah.
think you're going to one brunch and it's like, nah, let's go here. Like, I have hidden in the car to try to sleep. Mocha know what it is, and this is all Harlem. I've hidden in the car to try to sleep in, and they'd be like, we
Yeah, no. See, I look forward to it. So like maybe like 5, 10 years ago, whatever. But like I've like learned to like just pace myself where I'm like, okay, I'm coming to one brunch. I'm going to drink to oblivion. Somebody get me home, and then I'm going to sleep. Like I'm planning that sleep. I'm looking forward to that sleep all day. So I would not be apt to do the bouncing around, but I have in my heyday. I may do it here and there, but generally, if I'm going to brunch with you, I am looking forward to that sleep. Let's go.
listen. And if I'm going to brunch with you and you're not letting me go home, I'm trying to get that sleep in the car, and I'm trying to get some tea.
Oh my
Everybody
god.
knows. So now they're at brunch, right? And this is where Camille and Quinn are hungover because they was drinking far too much the night before. Um, so Camille, she hasn't spoken to Ian since she left him where she left him. But she remembers that she quit her job in her
Yeah.
drunken stupor.
Yes.
And she remembers that Quinn gave her the advice. And Angie's like, yo, you really taking you
Advice
really
from Quinn, right? Career
you
advice.
taking advice from a chick who don't have to really work.
Yeah.
And
And who hasn't stuck with anything either, which
right.
which I don't like as an Aquarius. I don't like people throwing out there, oh, well, they didn't stick with any. Some people are just really good at everything they do. And it's very hard to lock in what you want to do. And by some
Take time
people,
to
I
figure it
mean me.
out.
Right. And it's taken me some time. I've gone through some great careers. Right. And it's taken me some time to figure out, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I'll pivot in a heartbeat.
Huh?
I will pivot in a heartbeat.
There you go. Well, I'm a former professional basketball player, so pivot is what I do. Like that's how I do my best moves.
Shut up.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. She's short, guys. She can't. She can't. If you
Whatever.
haven't
I'm not
noticed,
sure. Don't believe that.
she's short. So, but yeah. But let's be honest. Most people outside looking in, are looking at her while she doesn't stick with anything, but also she doesn't have to because mommy and
She doesn't
daddy
have to, but
have a
she
lot of
didn't
money to help her out.
she didn't hop around that much either. She just didn't do what her mom wanted her to do. But that's not the
Oh no,
point.
yes she did. You don't remember when her mom, if season one listed, and
Yeah,
when you wanted to do this, we helped you out, and when you wanted to do that, you helped you out, and this and that and other. She listed like 7 things.
that's true. Ty is like Brandon told her that she ain't got no close connections, she ain't got no people,
Oh yes,
and they sitting down there and they just drinking, and she's like, I want y'all to so y'all not gonna say that he bugging, and she's like, but I have y'all, and they're like, yes, you have us, but you don't have anything close outside of us,
yeah.
and it's like you're scared to get close.
And she does a
Angie,
good job of pushing them away too,
yeah, she does,
actually.
but
So
Angie is trying to add levity to everything, and they're like, yo, take some shit serious, and she's like, yo, I just lost my dream job, my dream place to stay, things ain't good, and here come Quinn with the takesy backsy, which is a very, like, I've never said takesy backsy, but it's a very West Indian thing to just put some words together and add C to the end of it, right? What's
I
a
mean,
takesy
I think
backsy?
that's a Southern Black thing
Yeah,
too. Because
what's a takesy backsy?
when my husband asked my parents if he can ask me to marry him, the first thing my mother said was no backsies. And he was like, "What is that?" And mind you, for y'all that don't know, my husband is a British of Jamaican ancestry. So I'm pretty sure he should be used to making up words too. But the southern roots in my mama definitely came out because she was like no backsies.
But here's the deal, though.
Can't take
A
her back.
takesy backsy is what Quinn suggests for Camille to get her job back.
Yeah.
What's the doctor's name? Professor Pruitt?
Yeah. And that's Whoopi Goldberg's character, which I love her. I love the way she plays her. She portrays her very well.
Really? She's such an asshat.
But that's the thing. Being in higher education and having well, one of my favorite professors was, she also had locks and actually reminded me a lot of her, but she is and still is one of like the most kind and giving people. Shout out Professor Darling. But and super smart. But there are plenty of them that are pretentious like that and standoffish and
But
like
what I think I think that's generational.
yeah, but also they came up in a time where so Whoopi is probably what in her 60s, right? So her
Yeah.
character would be near that, right? So when she was getting her doctorate, I imagine the world was nothing like it was for Camille. So she had
Correct.
to come up through the mud. And so a lot of times some people, if they had to come up through the mud, they want you to come up through cement.
I don't even think that's the only thing. I think similar, yes, it's the mud, but she's an advocate. She's all about civil rights and fighting the great fight. And she's like from that generation where they took it to the streets.
Yeah.
And Camille's advocacy is different. It's social
She
media.
takes it to the tweets.
Yeah, right. Instead of the street,
she takes it to the tweets.
And
oh, we should coin that. That's nice. That's nice. That's generation.
She whatchamacallit, she doesn't respect it because she doesn't think if you don't have elbow grease in the game, or she doesn't recognize how
that is their elbow grease.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they suggest that she goes to see Dr. Pruitt for a takesy backsy. And mind you, she had cussed Dr. Pruitt down to the ground when she was drunk. She was like, I don't need that job.
And shove it up your no.
So, they're on the, she has set up to meet Dr. Pruitt. She has some time before she has to do it. They all have some time. So they're going to go with Quinn to get their nails done. To get pedicure, mani-pedis before Quinn's queer date.
Yeah.
And
oh wait, but before we go into there too, Quinn reaches out to Ty for some girl loving tips advice. And also toys.
Well, no, not. I mean, they get there. They get there. They get in their nails on the way to get their nails done. they run into someone who's supposed to be a fortune teller, and he tells Angie that if she sleeps with the most beautiful man in New York, her luck is gonna change for the better. Whatever. They go to get their mani pedi. They're talking. Quinn lets it be known that she's a subpar lover. And they're like, don't say that. She's like, no, those are the reviews I've gotten.
That's
Right?
wait, skirt, pump your brakes. How do you function? Like, especially her being an overthinker and an overachiever. Like, she never tried to work at not being a subpar lover. Like, does that mean that maybe her passion wasn't there because she was just happy to be in a relationship instead of being in a relationship that made her happy? Right?
Possibly, or maybe because, I can relate to the prudish component of Quinn, right?
True. And I
Because
think, yeah, especially because she's Caribbean, right? So that
I
gives
can
you
totally relate to it because, there's this look and feel and way that a woman's supposed to present herself. And none of that speaks to joy sexually. None of it really speaks to being fulfilled sexually. It's like you must look a certain way and speak a certain way. And that's how you're raised. But they don't tell you that when the doors close, it's supposed to be this. Because they don't even want you to know men or man. They don't even want you to know a man. But whatever.
but how does that excuse, like, I don't understand. Like, logically, you're like, yeah, they're telling you to behave and be prude and all this stuff, and then popping out 6, 7, 8, 9, picking them.
I don't know. It's taking me some time to reconcile that, right? Personally.
like,
Like,
like
oh, you didn't want me to be outside because I grew up in a very strict environment. I was not allowed to do anything but go to school, come home. I had siblings, those were my friends. And all of that was to keep us away from men. Like, men. Mind you, there was no man in my 6th grade class, but men. Like, they would keep, but the fear of a parent. Like, my mom was a young parent, right? So that even speaks to something.
yeah.
But the fear of a parent is that their child should walk in their footsteps. So everything in my life and the way I was raised was to ensure that I didn't walk in those footsteps of becoming a young mom. So, when a lot of the people who see this or maybe don't see this, anyone who knows me first as Goody, they'll remember the Goody that was very conservative publicly, not asshats like yourself, right? Like, but the way I was raised publicly, you don't curse publicly, you don't type cuss words because that could come back to haunt you. So, I get it. This is where Quinn asks Ty for the advice on Lady Loving. But it's weird. She even got to a point where she was like, Ty was like, I can help you. So she's like, oh, you're gonna come in and do it for me, like, so, like,
Yeah.
Erno Dvorak, like, you're gonna do that for me. And Ty's like, no, you freak. While they're having all these conversations, the masseuse for the I guess it's a spa.
Oh yeah.
He comes in and Angie decides he's gonna be the guy who helps her turn her luck around. And before they could blink their eyes twice, she in the cab with him going home. She a whole damn mess.
Listen, I have love-hate issues with the way they portray her character because, of course, she's the thicker one, she's the darker one, and of course they just throw out there and make her, I don't want to say a hoe. I don't really
liberated. I think she's liberated.
But they make her extremely sexually liberated, loud, etc., and so forth. Like all the stereotypes that any shade of Black woman have to battle in a white world or a non-Black world, right? Because even though we're not the global minority, here in the States we are, right, a minority. But obviously those negative aspersions, right, are casted upon
who says it's negative? Women. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's like, who says it's negative, right? The world says it's negative, but if we're looking at this from the lens of this is my Sex in the City, the reality is our voices do have a little bit more weight to them, so they do carry. a
Yeah.
little more.
But so I get it, right? So if we're gonna compare, she's gonna be like Sam, and Sam was my fave, and I do love Angie. I just feel that even like with the Sex and the City one, right? When they made Sam like that, she was only a blonde, right? And you know how they always try to portray blondes as being easy and dumb and all about like just a good time, right? So there was an uproar about that way back, if you remember. So Sex and the City is what, like almost 30 years old from
Yeah,
starting. It's like
I get
1998,
it.
right?
But for me, it's like I don't even. I'm at a stage where like fuck who they are. Fuck they.
And that's always been my stage, right? And maybe that's why like I gravitated towards like Sam and Angie. So I'm definitely not slut shaming. I'm just saying that they could have picked someone that they could have picked like someone that looked like Camille to be that way, right? Like that's just all my thing. Like why paint, like even with Living Single, right? Maxine was the most educated. She was a lawyer, right? But she's
Exactly.
also the most loud and the darker one and the most sexually liberated one as well, right? So it's just a recurring theme,
Theme.
motif, whatever, that I just wish they could change. But I do love her character. It doesn't like I do love all the characters. Like at the end of the season, I was able to say that because at the beginning of the season, I was like, they all make me angry. And they do make me angry, but for different reasons. Because I think the communication's off and I'm big on communicating. But long story short, I didn't like that they chose to go that route again with the typical darker skin, more voluptuous woman, right? Like trying, like it's almost like they try to make her unattractive, and even though they're trying, they can't. Like she's
They
just
can't make her unattractive,
person,
but
period.
there's something to be said for her being. I think she's the sexiest one there. She's like she gives them all a run for their money. I think for me, when it comes to looks, it would be her and then Ty.
I was gonna say Ty, but that's because I'm a tall, athletic woman. So like I see a lot in her. And let me also explain. So my initial thing too, I almost had an issue with was how they portrayed Ty because she's tall and athletic and everything. And my whole life I got, wow, you like men? Like so because I'm tall and
And we play
athletic, like
ball.
I gotta, yeah, but I mean, but still, like, because I'm they do that with any tall athletic woman, especially if you play a sport, right?
I was surprised to learn that you like men.
And then especially if we're aggressive and like Ty's like a go-getter, and that's how I am too. Very smart. Gonna let you know they're usually one of the top people in the room that you should be looking at, like just by walking in. So like for a little bit too, I kind of like had an issue with how brash they made her character. But again, that was things that I had to tone down about myself at points in time until I was like, fuck you, I'm not turning down shit. You're gonna get me to the fullest, right? And so yeah, so I just wanted to point out those two things. I think that
There
the
are
queen
themes, but
too.
they are also real.
Yeah, but also like Quinn, the dainty light skinned one, right? And so of course she comes from a bougie family because both her parents are light skinned and she's very light skinned, etc. and so forth. And then you got your semi light skinned one that's just like, oh,
I
I
know
don't
you're
know
not
how I
going to
ended
say
up
that
here.
Camille is semi, because I feel like Camille might be my complexion,
Yeah, and you have issues with not
and
understanding. You're
we
not
are both the same complexion as Angie.
you are not. This is my winter color. This is as light as I get. That is your typical color, okay? And for you guys that don't know, this is our skin bare, okay? So it's not makeup or anything. But Darlene just has issues with understanding that she's not dark skin, dark brown skin.
Deep, deep
So
dark, y'all. I'm going to
it,
do a poll.
she'll be like us dark skinned ladies, and people will be like, what?
You see her. You see me on this wall with my deep, deep dark.
Yeah, that's
No, not her. Not her.
the one right behind you.
Her.
That's the one you look
We black.
like.
We black, black, black.
No, but I've having seen Megan Good in person when I was out in LA years ago. I believe her natural color is about 3 shades lighter than you. So you're not technically not her color. Again, too, Harlem is shot in the summer too, so that could be her summer color. Maybe her summer color is your winter color, but even so, she's still light skinned, but like a light caramel. Beautiful black women, all shades. I love that all shades are represented, but I just hate how they start to kind of lead into some tropes. But I understand why too, because I think that as much as we try not to, even though society is pressing on you, we kind of do naturally lean into those tropes, even if we don't want to. Right? I don't know. Maybe it's me.
No,
Do
it
you know
was
what I'm saying?
me. I can see that it's me. I'll edit that.
Okay. So
So
yeah.
where
So
do we go? We go to Camille going up to Dr. Pruitt's house. Nice. See, I couldn't be nobody, and I don't even like my family just popping up to my house. So I'd be pissed if my somebody who
coworker.
worked for me, what you doing here? Nope, nope. And that's exactly what she got. She was like, I'm sorry. And that, I want my job back. And Dr. Pruitt is like, ma'am, I have to think about this and don't come back over my house. Don't do it. Leave yourself to not come over my house because I don't want this. This is not what I want. I don't want this. So she leaves. Dr. Pruitt's thinking about it. Who do we go to next? What happens next?
The sex shop, candy shop for your lady parts, to be exact. So when was your first time in a candy shop for a lady parts? Mine was actually in the village, and I was probably not 18, probably like 19, because visiting one of my college ended up being one of my college roommates that lived in LES. So we was down there doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then I don't know what possessed us to just walk into.
I might have been 23, 24 with my ex-fiance.
Oh, it's spicing it up, huh?
I guess, but definitely not slack like you.
Oh, we didn't go in there to buy anything. We went in there to kind of
what y'all doing in there? Like we grew up in a New York that had 42nd Street where it was like,
oh my gosh, there's women dancing in the windows. Yeah, I remember that. By Port Authority, it was like littered all over there. But no, but we went in there. We dragged my college roommate in there because she was a prude, right? So she grew up with all boys. She's the only girl, and her mom was with her father young. So like you said, with your mom, she didn't want her to be the same way. So she was just super prude, right? So anytime we had to embarrass her, we did. So we was in there like waving like big dicks in her face and stuff like that. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, that would not have been fun for me.
But that was why we went in there. It wasn't for any reason like we needed anything or we're gonna buy anything. And I remember looking at the prices and being like, oh my gosh. And I don't even think they were nowhere near what they are now. So for those of you who didn't watch the episode, they end up spending $4,000.
Well, you see, you can't go. I mean, they both got it like that, but Ty is a tech startup tycoon, so she got it. And Quinn is an heiress. What she thought they were saying Aries. She was like, they were like, no, heiress, the idiot. So yeah, they spent a lot, but they overdid it. Like, I feel like Ty was just doing too much.
Yeah, when we get to see what's going on with my lighting.
Yeah, what's happening?
Flashlight. There we go. Okay. So yeah, so we get to see later on that I think again Quinn was just trying to hide behind her insecurities. So she thought that all this stuff would make her more desirable instead of knowing that she is the only tool that Isabella wanted. So
right. And then we get to our little asshat Angie, because Angie is sleeping with the guy who's attractive, and she tells him he's the most attractive dude, and he's like, "Oh, you think I'm the most attractive dude?" And so she trying to double her luck via rhyme it. Right, she trying to double her luck. So she in there, she in this thing, they knocking things over, pictures falling off the wall, and now she's leaving dude's house. And as she's leaving, there's someone doing pull-ups, and he's badder than the dude she was with. So what does Angie do?
She tells him that she has a twin sister. So I had to crack up laughing at that because I don't know why I never did that. Unless I have. I have to ask one of my best friends because she knows all my shenanigans. But pause, this guy, right? So he's a big time influencer. I think I've seen you like one of his videos like a while back.
Or
The darker skin one. So all his videos like focus around like his abnormally large member. And so like he does like weird stuff with it, or like he'll just like hold it up with a towel. He's like OnlyFans. I haven't seen the OnlyFans, but he was like featured on either Shade Room or
she ain't
Hollywood
sent me none of this.
something.
Listen, y'all.
I definitely did send her one of
I
these.
didn't
I
watch
was
it.
like,
Whatever this blackness is.
did you see this? It was on like It's One Site or one of those blogs that I love to follow. Shout out to all of y'all doing your thing. And yeah, so as soon as I saw, I was like, oh, I know him.
So here's the deal though. I did not know him. And
I know why they put him in this. They're gonna show.
My sister and I, people thought I was a twin growing up. So I never pulled that, because if I did pull something like that, they would inevitably go to my sister, and then she was my older sister, and she'd fuck me up if I put her in some mess like that. So I never played. That's why I never thought about it. It wasn't something I ever thought was cute. The only thing I always said is, back when I was a Captain Crunch cheetah, I'm different now.
Oh, you had mentioned
I would always say
on tape. Woo!
No, but I would always say, right? If you if you and I are together and you think you saw me out with somebody else and you don't get me to answer to my name, it was my sister.
With a straight face too. That's good.
It was, that was not me. It might have been Tree. I'm gonna see if she was out there.
See, I was lucky. Any tall, dark brown skinned girl that was athletic built, people were like, "Oh, I thought I saw you the other day, but it wasn't you." You're right. Thanks. So
yeah, Angie's a mess. She sets up a date for her twin sister with the roommate. Immediately, the most handsome dude. And now you know why he was like, "Oh, you think I'm the most handsome dude?" You could tell he get dubbed for this dude a lot.
Yeah, he started getting real possessive.
She was like, "Dude, shut up. I told you I had a twin sister. Yeah, you keep talking. Bye." So that's Angie's world. In Ty's world, she's trying to find deeper meaning and connection because she doesn't want to believe that she's this person who has a hard time connecting. Rewinding back to the sex shop, though, there was a moment where she was getting deep with Quinn. They were having a meaningful discussion, and just like you said, she kind of brushed it away when it started to become too close, too personal, touched too much of a nerve. So she goes to see if maybe she wants a puppy. Camille is on tour trying to apologize for all the wrong she's done. She's seen Professor Pruitt. Now she's going to apologize to Ian's family for the wedding that she messed up.
I wouldn't have even taken ownership of that because he could have chose to not kiss her.
He knew how. No, if you know how you feel, then why are we doing this whole wedding? And if Camille apologizes. The family was hoping it would happen. They were just hoping it would happen before everyone came in from out of town. But why? If my mother wouldn't have just watched me do something that she knew in her heart of hearts that I didn't want to do, she wouldn't have told me not to do it, but she would have advised. She would have been asking, "Are you sure? Have you given this thought?" She definitely wouldn't have been shelling out plenty money
Yeah.
for this, but Camille
But I feel like she
apologizes.
did do that. Didn't she say, like, we spoke about that in season 1? I think that sometimes you don't realize your feelings until you are placed in that situation again.
Yeah, he realized his feelings because he told her he loved her when he thought they were dying. When he thought the robbers were going to kill them last season.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Remember, he had to come back. When he came back and he saw her again, like those flood of emotions, I'm not used to that because
I don't deal with
like I said,
emotions.
all
That's not
except for
true.
one from my past that I ever was like, should I go back? Like everyone else, it was just like, no, thank you. No, no, no. Our time has sailed, right? And I don't even have that like many boyfriends. Like that's crazy too. But like even no one that I've like dated, situationships, like none of that. I've never wanted to revisit. I believe there's a time and a place for everything. And if you lose me, you're stupid. So you don't get another chance.
So on her way out, she runs into
Yeah.
Maya.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
even care the Brit. She runs into the Brit.
The Brit chick.
And the Brit chick cuss her down to the ground. I'm mad at you. You don't take accountability for the role you played. You're sorry. Okay, fine. I don't give a fuck if you're sorry or not. I don't accept it. F off. Go to hell. Um, which puts Camille in her feelings and makes her wonder if she does hold herself accountable and if she does face the wrong things that she has done head on.
And let's not
So
forget that Camille was seeing someone that she really liked too.
we'll get
And
there.
his feelings were really involved also. So
We'll get there because
there's a lot of
he's calling her all
selfishness
day.
all around.
He's
Exactly.
calling her all day. All day he's pinging her. He's supposed to be going to Chicago.
To take the job, a good
He
paying job at a great school.
great paying job. He's willing to get her a role because she knows the jig is up for her down to the Columbia, right? She know Dr. Pruitt don't really fancy her, so she knows it's up. He's like, let's go to Chicago together. Um, so he's texting her all day. Hey, what's up, boo? She's ignoring that. She's running from her problems. That's what's happening. She's not facing her problems. And Disco Girl over here, what do you have to say? In the Disco Inferno.
It's so crazy because it's not my light. I think it's how my camera is registering the light. So it's so crazy. It's like, dear, dear. No, okay. Anyway, yeah, it's. I mean, if I was her,
She's
I would
running.
choose. Yeah, she's running from both of them, right? Because she's
She's
not
running
really.
from everything.
Yeah,
Anything difficult, she kind of flees.
and that I don't like because that is not a part of me. That's opposite me. I handle things straight on. I don't like to put them away because when you do, they just get worse. That's
I
how they
think I had to
happen.
learn that it gets worse in order to face things head on.
Yeah,
I had
no,
to learn it gets worse.
I
But I
know.
wasn't in my 30s learning that it gets worse.
Yeah, no. So that's something that I could say has been a strength of mine. Like from day one is okay, we need to handle this. Let's talk about it. Now, maybe I should have waited for some of those conversations because I had them all angry sometimes, right? So that I had to work on. But I just don't understand putting things off. I try not to procrastinate. Obviously, I procrastinate about some stuff. We all do, but procrastinating about things that involve other people, I think is highly selfish, and I do my best not to be selfish. So that's like one of her traits that like irks the hell out of me.
And
And
it
then
hurts the
the
people who love
communication.
her too.
Yeah.
So, we go through her day. She realizes she doesn't hold herself accountable. She goes back to Dr. Pruitt and was like, you know what? Let me own my responsibility. I did come to you. I said all these things. I meant what I said, and I need to stick to that. So I'll finish out the semester, but then, I'll have to find a new role. Dr. Pruitt's like, that's very considerate. You don't come back to my house.
Yeah.
Um, Ty was going to get a dog. That was too intense. She went down to the plant store thinking that maybe she could get a plant. She can't pick a plant. This is where Rachel True pops in. I
Who
love
I
Rachel
love.
True.
Yes, yes.
There was a time with Rachel True because her and Khalees had the same hairstyle
People
ish,
thought they were the same. Yeah.
but Rachel True has, for me, prettier features. I think Rachel True is not even a lot, like point 0.5 prettier than Khalees. And whenever I would realize that behind all the hair was Khalees, I'd get a little bit disappointed. Like, damn, that's not her, right? So
Oh, but
Rachel,
Khalees at one point cut all her hair off, and she was still gorgeous to me.
no, Khalees is a beautiful woman, but she's not Rachel True.
Yeah, I think Rachel True is very beautiful too. I loved her since The Craft, actually.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
I love Rachel True. I love seeing her. I love all of it. But for
She seems like
Ty,
she has such a great spirit.
she
Yeah.
gives Ty like
All the
a
shit.
cactus. Like, yo, you can't kill this, right? There's no way you could kill a cactus. Quinn goes on her date with Isabella. It leads to like phenomenal sex for Quinn. So now she's calling herself a queer girl. They're like, stop saying that. Angie, she has done everything she can to change her luck. When she comes home to tell Quinn about her endeavors, she realizes Quinn's had this amazing time, and she's like, fuck, I'm gonna have to find some place to live.
Yeah.
And Camille, on her way home, while her boo is texting her, he pops up and he's like, yo, I turned down the job, I'm gonna stay in New York. And she's kind of looking at him like, oh. And he realizes real quick, like, oh, you're not happy?
Yep.
And she doesn't really have much to say. And he has like an emotional meltdown. The closest to an emotional meltdown a man with pride can have.
Yeah.
On a sidewalk. And
Side note, real quick. I know I
mm-hmm.
gushed over Tyler Lepley, right? But Sullivan Jones is who plays Jameson. That's like my type, like tall, geeky, kind of nerdy, like slim build kind of thing. Like, I don't know, like Tyler Lepley, like I said, is absolutely freaking gorgeous. But I never go for like that super hot popular guy. That's never been my thing. I like the more like reserved, quiet, nerdy, like I don't know. So like I just gotta shout him out there too. He might not be like that in real life, but his character definitely, like, that's my type, and his stature is my thing. So I it doesn't matter. Like, I love all the shades of blackness, but give me someone tall, slim, and nerdy, and like conventionally attractive, because I don't like ugly people. I'm not good there. We know that I'm shallow, but still, it's something like extra sexy to me about that, like awkwardness, like nerdy,
Here
like
we go.
it's my thing. My husband fits all of that, obviously, but I just wanted to shout
I know
out.
we are not doing this, my
So, I
husband.
mean, I listen. Just saying that because we're talking about this. I'm just because I'm married doesn't mean I'm not a woman, right? Like, so I'm just saying, like, so shout it out, Tyler. Let me shout out him or whatever, right? And my husband
Shout out
gets shout out
Karen.
all the time. Like, my whole
Shout
page
out
is like,
Karen. I guess you're supposed to be hot.
my my page is like obsessed. You guys go to my Instagram and you'll see I'm obsessed with my husband. And so yeah, so whatever. But yeah, so go on, Goody.
That's how the episode ends. We're gonna stop it right there.
Yes, and we did it under an hour. Good
Yeah.
job.
So where
Good
can they
job.
find you? What are you up to?
So, for those of you who don't know, Goody and I are part owners of Blaq Gurl Moves, and so that is a company that is dedicated to the overall health and wellness and luxe life living of Black women across the globe. Doesn't matter where, if you're part of the diaspora, African American, Afro Caribbean, Afro Latina, Afro European, African, Afro Asian. We don't care. We love you. So, yeah, so we actually are relaunching in June, and we got some great things coming up. My husband and I also are working on a brand together that we'll have coming soon. And I currently work in business development and tech. So I guess I'm a lot more like Ty than I'd like to admit. I'm not a lesbian, so I'm married to a man. But but I have nothing against lesbians. Like, hello, like you're human beings. I love all human beings. Obviously, but yes. So I'm very much so like Ty because then she goes on these tirades. But anyway, so yeah, so you can find me anywhere, anything having to do with Blaq Gurl Moves. I'm the CEO. And you can usually find me somewhere supporting Goody wherever she's at. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'll have my brands on there and tagged. And you can see that, like I said, I literally obsess over my husband and our family. He's just everything. My family's just everything. So yeah.
Wow. Like, I don't believe we've gotten to the my husband phase of her marriage.
My husband, I'm not gonna be there. Like,
You're not gonna be there because you're there already. You're there. You're parked. They gave you a parking tag. Me personally, you can find me running my mouth any place. Just Google Goody Gabor. You'll find me chatting. I am part owner of Blaq Gurl Moves. We are dedicated to sisterhood in a really big way. Sisterhood, and I'm sorry, for Black women. I can't wait for us to get into all of the things that we're going to get into. But if you want to get into me, I'm on YouTube at Goody Gabor Gabs because that's what I do. I talk a lot. I talk a lot here on YouTube. I talk a lot everywhere simply because my friends are over it. My friends are tired of it. They're like, oh, you still talking? Now, hopefully, not exactly yet, but hopefully they'll get to a point where they'll be like, you still talking? I'm talking here. I'm talking on Termagant Talk, hip hop, a weekly walk through the minds of two hip hop heads who don't show up weekly, but we still hip hop heads. With the Until Next Time podcast, Goody's Gospel podcast, Ascension. I'm all over the place doing a whole bunch of things, but I do it all for y'all. So that I don't have to talk to me one-on-one, talk to everybody.
But see, that's also what I want to throw out there. I must talk to Goody almost every day, just about every
for
day,
an hour or two, and still I be
times
having
a
more
day.
to think.
Yes. So I'm one of those friends that doesn't get tired of hearing what
Except
she
for
has
when
to say.
she with her husband, then I'd be like, oh, you and your husband.
I don't know why people think that they can't call me or something.
No, I can't call her. As a matter of fact, when she was getting engaged, I was calling. I was interrupting the engagement.
Yeah, I remember that. Did he propose yet? Did he propose yet? So yeah. But yeah, so thank you for joining us. If you see us doing season 2, I mean episode 2 and episode 3, and we're still wearing these outfits, that's because we recorded it all in one day, so don't judge. Okay, we wash.
You can judgment to yourself.
Okay. All right.
Keep your judgment to yourself.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye. How I lead this thing? How I lead this thing?